Welcome to this week's episode of the Black and Blue Soccer Show with Andrew and Joey. So, Joey, how was your week this past week?
Yeah, it was pretty good. My son started his soccer season up again. He had one practice and he's also still doing basketball. So things will be pretty crazy here for a couple weeks, but after that, ready to get him back into soccer shape. Can't wait.
What's his goal for this upcoming soccer season? How many goals?
He wants to score at least 5 goals, and he honestly said that he just wants to get better. So I'm okay with that.
Okay. Well, this week it was my birthday week. I turned 40 years old, so a little bit depressing in that department. I do have a somewhat interesting story. I treated myself to a massage here in town, and I went to a new massage parlor. Let's call it that, because the previous massage parlor I went to had a sign that said, "Do not ask for sexual favors; they will not be granted." But then had a chapstick on the nightstand, which I've been to many massage places. I've never seen chapstick on a nightstand, so that kind of freaked me out. So yeah, the new place, there was no chapstick on the nightstand. There was Kleenex and lotion. So uh,
So how good of a birthday massage was it then?
uh, I don't know. Jokingly, I didn't get what I paid for, but in a legal sense, I got everything that that was expected. Honestly, the woman was really nice. She was from China, and we talk a lot about her homeland and how she ended up moving to South Carolina. It was actually really good. I would, I'm definitely going back to this other establishment.
Cool.
So, Joey, our last episode came out before all the games in Match Day 20 took place. Were there any surprises? What was your most surprising game of Match Day 20?
So like you mentioned, there were a few different matches where there were some surprising results. But for me personally, the Brighton Liverpool match was took the top on that one. Just I wouldn't say that Brighton winning overall is too much of a surprise because they've been pretty decent and Liverpool have just been shite. But a 3-0 victory where Brighton just completely destroyed Liverpool. I was not expecting that at all. I have a close friend who's a really big Liverpool fan, and he is hating life right now. He feels like they can't stop anybody, that everybody will score at them if they get the ball in their half, and it just does not look good for them. Looks like Liverpool just aren't going to buy any new players until the summer. And honestly, I don't even know if I trust that because they're trying to find new ownership, and who knows if that doesn't go well, they might not buy anybody. We'll see. It's unfortunate that Van Dijk's out. That said, he wasn't playing that well anyway. But other than that, their midfield is probably about as bad as Chelsea's. So,
And on the
what do
bright
you,
side, Chelsea won.
yeah, how about that? And Newcastle won too. Had to get a late goal right at the last minute.
Yeah, we had it the whole time. No, it was never in doubt. Uh, um, but my surprise match of the week is one that had a little bit of controversy in it. Was the Manchester United beating City 2-1 at home. The result, A, was surprising, and B, the officiating was also shocking. I'm sure most people know by now about Marcus Rashford's dummy interfering with the goal, originally called offsides, but then Stuart Atwell gave the goal anyway. Turned out to, lead on to a Man United victory, which will definitely come into play, in my opinion, for the top four. later on in the season.
Interesting.
So,
One
yep.
one
With
thing I found interesting about this match was it was part of the time span between goals for Holland, where he went his longest streak without scoring since like 2019, and and that it's insane considering how many goals Holland has.
Yeah, well, he's just yeah, he's just do you think he's going to score 40 goals?
40? I think he easily can. Whether he actually does, I don't know. Honestly, I think Man City's kind of getting a little lazy in that department because they just assume that if they get the ball up to him, it's going to be a goal. Um, so I think well, poor Spurs kind of uh, change that around. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. 40, I think, is a stretch, but doable.
Okay. Um, so as I said, I think this result will have a impact on the top four. So, what I want to discuss right now with you, Joey, is now that we are halfway through the Premier League season, let's look to the potential relegation teams and the potential European places.
All right, but
And we'll
real quick, how do you pronounce the league?
Premier.
That's right, Premier.
Premier, yes. Gotten a little flack on that, but that's how this Southern American is going to say it. And I might even emphasize the ear.
All right, so
So, yeah,
real quick, I'll just go ahead and give a rundown of the top seven and the bottom three of current standings. So right now we have Arsenal, City, Man United, Newcastle, Tottenham, Fulham, and Brighton in the top seven. Bottom three for relegation fodder is West Ham, Everton, and Southampton. Now, most of everybody's on 19 matches played. There are four clubs that still only have 18. That's Arsenal, Brighton, Liverpool, and who was the last one? Leeds. So that is the current snapshot.
with that being in mind, let's start off with the not so fun but enjoyable discussion now that Newcastle's has no business even in the discussion of the relegation teams. So, Joey, I put my three teams I think that are getting relegated are Bournemouth, Southampton, and Everton.
Is
Partly
that
because
is that 18, 19, 20?
that's 2019-18. I think Everton
Okay.
will finish in 18th, Southampton 19th, and Bournemouth 20th. I think Bournemouth are gonna, they had a good, first, you know, half of the season, quarter of season start. But they leak the most goals, and teams that leak the most goals usually end up at the very bottom. So I think they're gonna keep falling like a rock. I don't see them. They do have a new owner that's spending money, but he bought an attacking player. So that's not gonna, I don't think they're gonna outscore anyone. So I think they're going to continue to just get pumped each game. So I see them falling into 20th position. Southampton, I think their season is, I don't want to say it's pretty much done because every year you say Southampton is going down.
And then they
And
beat Chelsea.
who hasn't yet this year? But you 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 always say Southampton's going down. They never you look too impressive on paper. House and who was able to keep them, toward mid table to 15th, 16th, 17th. Year in year out. I think it's finally going to catch up with them. I just don't see them. Um, I see them going down. And then the last one I picked was Everton. I think they are in free fall due to just the nature of how the club is set up. The talent they have, some people say it's not a talent problem. They have the talent. I think, except for maybe three or four players, they are not talented, especially for the money that they're on. don't believe in Frank Lampard. I think, in fact, we'll see. We'll talk about this when we record the second segment on Sunday. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's fired after the West Ham game should they lose.
Yeah, so
Uh,
that's what I was going to say about Everton is that one of their biggest problems is Lampard, and that I just don't believe he's ready to be a manager in the Premiership.
yeah. Yeah. Even that, I don't think they have the players. I don't. The effort they gave to stay up at the end of last year was amazing. I also thought it was hilarious what they did to Southampton. Their fans, the best fans in the world, shooting fireworks off at the Southampton hotel, only to lose the game, and then for the glorious Southampton review that they left on for the hotel. It was hilarious. I don't know if you've seen it, Joey, but if you haven't, you need to pop on Twitter and see the shade that they threw right at Everton because they tried the same tactics that they did last year that worked for them. And once you resort to that kind of nonsense, you don't really believe in your team if you need to try to keep another team awake all night. Um, you have no faith in your team. It's getting pretty bad as well. The board's been recommended to stay away. Their players are getting approached and confronted outside the stadium, which really shouldn't happen. It's just a contentious situation. I think this is the year finally for Everton to go down, and we'll see what happens. They spent a lot of money. They have a new stadium coming. Will they be the next Sunderland? We can only hope.
Yeah, so I'll go over mine pretty quick since it's very similar. 18, 19, and 20, I have Bournemouth, Southampton, and Everton. So it's the same except for Bournemouth and Everton switched. I think I'm even more hating on Everton than you are. I wouldn't say hating. I just do not have faith that they can turn things around at all. And then Southampton, we have them in the same spot. I completely agree. Bournemouth, I don't know why I have them at 18 really, because they don't look good at all. They've given up 41 goals at this point after 19 matches played. That's completely atrocious. Um, I don't know. That being said, who is another club that you wouldn't be surprised if they end up getting relegated?
But yeah, so right now, as of this recording, there is, from 14 to 20, there's only 2 points separated. So I have two teams that I think are still in trouble. Um, one more so than the other. I still think Nottingham Forest is in trouble, mostly because they've lost Dean Henderson now. I think I've last heard 6 to 8 weeks. So I think that will be a big loss for them to overcome. They have pulled a few surprising results, and then they've got shellacked in some other games. So I don't think they're out of the woods yet. They're looking definitely better than a few teams below them, but I think teams like Leeds and Leicester, I think they're going to wiggle their way out and stay in that 14, 15 range. The other team I would be worried about would be Wolves. Um, I do like their new coach. I do think they're playing better. The problem with Wolves is, and this has kind of been a problem for them for a while, is they can't score goals, and their defense is not nearly what it was last year. The fact of the matter is, after 19 games, they've scored 12 goals, and Newcastle we've only allowed 11. So that's that's borderline pathetic. So I think they need they need help in the transfer market, and if they don't score goals, I don't think Draws is going to. they're going to get sucked even further, and then all it will take will be you know, a lucky Everton win, maybe a Southampton win, and they could find themselves like right in that mix at the bottom.
Yeah, so Wolves are interesting to me because when I first started following the Premier League, I one of the first matches I saw was Wolves, and I saw Traore on the pitch, and I'm like, who in the heck is this freaking American footballer out there, like just plowing people over? And I was so impressed by him that like I thought he was like, a king. And then I start, paying attention. I'm like, the dude just like he has all the physical gifts in the world, but for whatever reason he just can't put it together. And I don't know, man. I I don't know if they will ever start scoring. Um, but the team that I'm really concerned with is Leicester. They do not look good right now. Like they look bad. And I kind of similar right now. I don't see how they can score at all. Um, you know, Vardy can only do so much, and I think he's running out of gas, and I am really worried about Leicester. So I don't think they'll get relegated, but if they do, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think Brandon Rogers is I think I think we could agree there's some coaches that are on like a ticking time bomb. Marsh, Rogers, Moyes, and Lampard. You know, it's kind of just waiting to see which team is going to be the first of those to sack the coach, to get the hopefully new coach bump to pull them a little bit out of the mire and closer toward mid-table. So, if you were a betting man, who do you think is getting sacked first out of those four?
Lampard, for sure.
I'm going to say Lampard only because I think West Ham will win. If Everton do win, I think Moyes will be sacked.
Yeah,
Either way, someone's getting sacked in
yeah.
this. Yeah, we'll find out Sunday if our prediction holds.
Yeah. West Ham, I think it'll be funny if they end up getting relegated because they've been holding on to uh Rice for so long, and they've been trying to like charge like I say $1 million, but freaking we're talking about
100
Premier
million.
League yeah, soccer now. Yeah, so they've been playing hardball with clubs, and if they end up getting relegated, how fast they'll sell him at a discount. I That'd be fun to see.
He could be sold this window. He could be sold tomorrow.
Hmm.
I doubt it.
I like the
I don't
sound of
think so.
that.
They need him for the fight. But I'm just saying, uh, if you do think about, I don't know his contract, but if he has a relegation clause, yeah, that would,
Hey,
yeah.
last week Chelsea had a player announced during the match, so I'll take it.
So now that we looked kind of at the bottom of the table, let's turn our attention to the European places. You know, which teams? First of all, who do you think will win? Who do you have winning the league?
Man City.
Really? Okay, so I am a believer in Arsenal. I think they will win the league. Man City has kind of slipped up and looked vulnerable at times this year. Yeah, especially yesterday. If it wasn't for Spurs, um,
So Spursy.
and I hate Lloris. Oh God, I like the French national team, but God, I hate that guy. Anyway, yeah, just freaking so many goals in this. Anyway, I think they're more vulnerable this year than they've ever been, and Arsenal still have a game in hand. I, um, yeah, I'm a believer in Arsenal, so I have them at number one.
Yeah, so on Arsenal real quick is that I know that they look great right now. They're probably the most informed team, but I'm a like I'll believe it when I see it type of guy. And right now, I just have full faith that Pep will get City rolling again, and that Arsenal will slip up, once or twice. So if Arsenal does end up taking first place, yeah, I won't be surprised in the least.
So yeah. So who rounds out your Champion League spots?
All right, so 2, 3, and 4, I have Arsenal, Newcastle, and Man United.
Okay, and for me, which will probably come as a surprise to Newcastle supporters and you, Joey, I have Man City, Man United, and Liverpool. You're not going to ask.
Wait, hold on. So
I was about to say, like, why is there a long pause here?
no, it took me a second because I was like, I fully expected you to say like Newcastle's getting relegated or something, just knowing who you are. But
No, we're beyond that.
yeah.
They're safe from relegation. We just need two more points. We're going to get those.
But how in the world can you have Liverpool coming back from being tied with Chelsea on 28 points right now to getting all the way up to, did you have them in third or fourth?
I have them in fourth.
Yeah, okay. Still, like, how? That's nuts.
So the mechanics of the situation don't matter at the moment. We'll see how January finishes. Remember, we're not at the end of the January transfer season, but if Brighton loses Casado, they'll fall. Brentford, who knows what in the world's happening with Tony and his betting situation. If they lose him, they're done. Fulham, I do not believe is sustainable, and Spurs is kind of a meme at this
Yeah,
point.
they're just Spurs.
So there, I've explained to you how they
So
can go
they'll
they can
look
go up.
into it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, when we review transfers Sunday night, um, if Brighton, I fully expect Chelsea or someone to buy Casado, and someone's going to injure Brighton. So that's how Liverpool gets fourth. I think Newcastle without additional reinforcements, again, window is still not closed. We are overperforming a little bit, and we are very thin when you look at our squad compared to the other squads. If we lose certain key players, we do not really have a replacement for them.
Yeah,
So
so on that note, I considered Bruno like one of your like most important impact players. Obviously he's gone. Who else is like up there as like if they get injured or whatever, you're in trouble.
uh, Trippier, if we lose him, he's pretty much the organization of our defense. The guy touches the ball and has more key passes than I think anyone other than De Bruyne. So yeah, if he gets injured, we're screwed because we've got Manquillo to replace him. That's not a very comforting thought. And then we're very light up front now with Wood gone. We have, Wilson, who has issues staying fit, and Isak, who's coming back from injury. So anything happens to those two, we'll be struggling for goals. And then we'll probably start ending up in Drawsville again because we have drawn 8 games. We are tied for the most in the league with Brentford in draws. So that's why I'm a little concerned. Um, you would almost rather lose a game and then win one because you'll come out better points wise. We could say, oh yeah, we're 15 unbeaten or whatever it is up to now. But the fact of the matter is, losing games and then winning games will get you a better point total in the end. So that's how I predict my next fifth place, Newcastle. I think
Okay. Yeah.
I think we'll slide down, mostly due to probably a drop in form will be expected at some point. And I think all our draws are going to catch up with us. We really have to turn those into wins. And again, I wouldn't even mind a loss if in the next one's a win. It just mathematically is better that way. But for morale and for the fans, I guess, you can pump out your chest and say, unbeaten. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice to have. The only other one that has lost one game is Arsenal, but they've only drawn two games, and you see where they're at. So there's a big difference there. Number six, I have Spurs. Depending on if Conte uh, can stay the next 11 days, we'll see what the hell happens there. And in seventh, rounding out European places, I do have Chelsea coming back to overtake. Similarly, how I explained how Liverpool would do it, I feel like Chelsea will do the same thing. It's just their squad is, or your squad. I mean, you could speak more to this. I think your squad will take a little bit longer to come together because they haven't. You're adding so many, and they haven't played together as much as Liverpool has. So I'm giving them the advantage based on experience, and that's really the only difference. So so what I'm telling you is, I guess there's a chance Chelsea could end up in fourth, but that would require everything to come together perfectly.
So you're saying
Which,
there's a chance.
yeah, 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 pretty much. Jim Carrey. So, but yeah, I think all the stars have to align, which usually when you buy a lot of players at once, that doesn't happen. Could it? Maybe. Again, when we just, record our Sunday segment, we will find out. If you guys win on Sunday, I would, I would, I would move you up and move Liverpool down.
Yeah,
I don't
so
think I'd move you to fourth, but I'd move you up.
the match is Saturday, by the way, bright and early at 7:30 in the morning for us East Coasters. Um, I am excited. I cannot wait to see Mudrick running at Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like, I am just giddy. I have goosebumps right now just thinking about it. How he's gonna turn Arnold around, like, oh, I'm I'm so excited.
So yeah, on that point, uh, I'm also excited to see him pop his ACL within the first 3 minutes.
It would be the Chelsea thing to do. It really would.
Yeah,
So
Anfield's just gonna leave the grass a little bit longer.
yeah,
There's gonna be a hole somewhere, on the right side or wherever, that sprinkler head cover off or something, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, what happened? Oh well, here's another one for the mass unit here.
it.
Um,
I mean, so it's been a long running, like, years tradition of like prominent Chelsea signings or players getting injured for absolutely stupid reasons, and like we even had in Kunku earlier get mess up his knee right before the World Cup, right after we signed him. Then Yao Felix getting the red card, and oh, so dumb. Um, but anyway, let me go ahead and just finish up mine real quick. So 5, 6, and 7, I have Brighton, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Now I still have faith that Brighton will stay up there because I think that they want to hold on to their success for dear life. I think that they actually realize what Potter built there, and I really love their new manager. Um, that saying that I forgot his name, but he he seems like he really knows what he's doing and has the players fired up. I don't think that they're going to let go of Caicedo, and they're going to push for top four. I think if Man U, you know, ever slips up, Brighton will be there to try to combat them for that fourth spot. And then Chelsea and Liverpool at 6 and 7. I, you know, kind of like you, I definitely don't think they're going to stay at 9 and 10. because of who's in front of them with Brentford, Fulham, Spurs, LOL Spurs. Um, they I don't think there'll be much of a fight. Um, and again, like you were saying, if the cards are played right, Chelsea and Liverpool very well could be up there, but I don't think they'll land that way. Yeah.
Wait, Joey. Before you move on, I just have to say this. So a Chelsea fan is picking Brighton to finish ahead of them, even though you're probably going to buy their best player. So you're kind of like a serial killer telling their victim, "Oh, it's okay. I'm going to let you live." And then, kill him at the end of the movie.
No, I don't think we'll buy him. I really don't. I don't think that the from what I've read and what I've seen at least, I don't believe that the scouting department rates Caicedo as much as I guess is being reported in the tabloids or whatever. And the fact that Brighton seemed to be putting up such an effort to keep him there, I don't think he's going to come. Because maybe Potter will be like, yeah, I got along with him well. I know the player. He's great. I'll take him. But I don't think they want him that much to, splash that kind of cash. But saying that, we have freaking Bully who has the deepest pockets I've ever seen.
Brighton fans, all I have to say is put the lotion on your skin because Todd Bowley's coming for you. Okay, listeners, and Joey, it is now Sunday. Match day 21 is almost complete. One game left to play tomorrow between Fulham and Tottenham. But let's run down the results real quick. We have Liverpool Chelsea 0-0. Leicester City at Brighton 2-2. Aston Villa beat Southampton 1-0. In the battle of the bottom, West Ham beat Everton 2-0. Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest tied 1-1. Crystal Palace Newcastle 0-0. Man City Wolves 3-0. Leeds United Brentford 0-0. And Arsenal beat Manchester United on a last-minute goal in the 90th minute by Nketiah 3-2. Joey, out of those matches, were there any surprises?
No, I wouldn't say a surprise. I will say with Holland getting another hat trick, I may have to revisit the whole 40 goal discussion we had. And if he has another match like that in a week or two, I'll change it to a definite yes. He's getting 40 goals. Other than that, the Arsenal match had a great ending. I think they pretty much dominated the whole match, and United was lucky to even have it tied at 2, and then Arsenal found a way to win.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think for having to sit through Chelsea's game and Newcastle's game, we both suffered a little bit. I think you guys suffered more than us. There was a little bit less excitement. However, I did get excited when I saw Mudryk, and we'll talk about him in the next segment. And yet again, for Newcastle, we can't finish. And credit Crystal Palace defense. They did a great job of keeping us out. They actually had probably the best chance of the game. A fantastic save by Nick Pope to keep it 0-0. And I wonder how many comments I'll get for the 0-0 mentioned
Oh,
earlier
yeah.
on. If we get one for the premier 0-0 and not nil. We'll see what happens. But we had a lot of chances. We just are not clinical. I didn't learn anything new about our team. We need to do something because my predictions of keep drawing games seems to be spot on at the moment. The only good thing is everyone else was drawing around us.
Hmm.
So the table effectively didn't change. And the only prediction I made on Friday that hasn't come true, God knows why it hasn't, Lampard still has a job.
Who knows? I couldn't tell you why. But real quick on for specifically that match and Newcastle as a whole, when Saint Maximin came on, I expected a little more livelihood, and I mean, I guess there was, but it didn't seem to like do anything really. Is Saint Maximin, is he on his way out?
Oh, that's a touchy subject. He's coming back from multiple hamstring injuries. To my eyes, it appears he's lost a step. I believe he's lost some confidence as well. Trying to play Hal style is much different than being a rogue maverick in a Steve Bruce team. And, Hal demands high pressing, tracking back. St. Maximin, I feel like he might be overcompensating and passing too much. He looked better, honestly, yesterday than he's looked previously. A lot of fans will say he needs to start a game. He's not the greatest coming on. Even though in the past he was, spectacular coming on in the late game. But I do think he might be an option, for our Carabao Cup game at Southampton this week. The only issue is you probably drop Joe Willock for him, and that's kind of harsh on Willock. So it's kind of an odd position. I don't know what to say because my personal view on the situation is his skills would suit a different team better. And I don't want to the fan base is split 50-50 on him. He's a great talent. I saw him at Nice. I watch French football. I I love what he's done for us, but I just don't know if he can regain that. I don't know if the injuries have taken something out of him. You know, similar to Chelsea, similar to Pulisic, he gets injured a lot. He obviously gets fouled a lot, but some players just get fouled a lot. But it seems when he gets fouled, it's either an injury, he's down a lot, and he, I'm sure it's not the greatest feeling in the world, but he rolls around on pain. Sometimes he's just laying on the pitch while the play's still going around, and then I'll pop up like a minute later, which is a little bit frustrating. So we'll see. Likely we'll stick with him until the summer, and then we'll see how these remaining games go. He has to be healthy. If he's not healthy, then I think that seals his exit, because if we do get European football, you have a limited squad and you can't carry players that have continuous injuries.
Gotcha. All right, so what about tomorrow's match? Fulham at Tottenham. It's been, playing pretty decent, and Tottenham seems to be, you know, diving into a dumpster right now. So how do you think that'll play out?
Oh, I love that analogy because I was realizing Conte diving into a dumpster. With the news that it looks like, Joey, he might be going back to Serie A next year. So if that's true, that could be it potentially for their recruitment this period. That would probably not be great for their morale. They're a swing team. I favor Fulham to get a result in this game, to be honest. It's at home, Craven Cottage. I think we're going to see something like 2-1, 2-0.
Yeah, I could see that. I like to refer to Fulham as the fighting Tim Reams, because that guy, he kind of like Thiago Silva, not nearly as talented, but he's old as dirt and still honestly looks great. And an American in the Premier League that old playing that well, that's a pretty big accomplishment.
Wait. Old as dirt. I'm 40 this week.
Well,
He's younger than me.
yeah. I mean, that just shows you like how
Preface
old I
that
think you
for
are.
a football player. He's old as dirt. Jeez.
Yeah, but no, I honestly I kind of like Fulham. They have a pretty nice little rivalry, friendly rivalry with Chelsea, and yeah, I wish they
Best team
weren't.
in West London.
Yeah, but yeah, I hope they win because I really dislike the Spurs too. So honestly, I hope it's like 5-0. Maybe Anthony Robinson can get a goal. That'd be nice.
Sounds good. So, Joey, moving on to our last segment of the week, we'll round up with transfers from the prior week. I'll just do Newcastle real quick. Obviously, there's been more Chelsea going on, so you'll have more to say on the subject. We were able to actually offload Chris Wood to Nottingham Forest. It's a loan with an obligation to buy in the summer. I'm one of those people that thought Wood was useful, not so much as a goal scoring striker, but he did some of the dirty work. I thought his distribution hold up play this year was pretty good. Now the challenge is replacing him. So as of this recording, we have 9 days left, and when this podcast comes out, we'll have 8 days, and we have yet to make a move or be linked. So get on it.
And before I get on with the Chelsea stuff, I want to briefly mention that it was reported that Declan Rice would actually prefer to go to Arsenal to play with Arteta over joining Chelsea. And I mean, look at Arsenal, how they're playing right now. Like, can't really blame them that much. And with Chelsea looking to throw loads of cash around, like that's a lot of pressure to try to go in on. So I can understand it. That being said, Declan Rice would. How do you think he is positioned right now? Do you think he's worth the 80 plus million that West Ham seem to be wanting to get?
Me personally, being an American, no, because I think all English players are slightly overvalued. Would I take him? Hell yeah. I mean, we totally need a CDM, so I mean, I'd be all over him, but I would not want to be paying what is it, 85, 100 million. I don't even know what West Ham wants anymore. The long again, as we discussed Friday, if they could pull themselves out of the relegation zone, then they could demand more. If they got relegated, they could, they'd be in less a bargaining position. So I would take him, yes. Would I pay the price? No. And to reiterate again, you guys are going to be getting Casado. You're the only people in for Casado. I know you tried to smooth it over with any Brighton fans listening, but you're going to be buying him to weaken Brighton because you guys need European football to recruit. I mean, you're signing all these guys. They're going to want to play European football. They're not going to sit on their ass and only play a game a week like we're doing right now.
Yeah, no, and I've mentioned this to you a couple times that I can't remember if I mentioned it on Friday or not. I just don't think Casado's good enough for us. He looks like a decent prospect, like a guy to be molded into the future, but that's not what we need right now. Right now, we need a proven playmaker who can hit progressive passes, hitting our runners in behind. And from what I've seen of him, that's not who he is right now. Now he could, in a couple years become that and light the league on fire. But like I said, that's not what we need right now. Let's see. Oh yeah, I was just going to mention that all this talk about Caicedo and Declan Rice or anything. I'm still hard simping for Enzo Fernandez. So come on, Papa Bowley, drop the load of cash and let's get it done.
No way. The way you guys are, they want it up front, and you're not doing that. So that's not going to happen.
I mean, if I had it my way, we'd be selling a whole bunch of people for dirt cheap right now just to just to get it done.
Yeah, but those teams have to absorb those wages. So unless you want to do what we're doing and paying half to 75% of people's wages just to get loans for them, you're kind of going to be stuck with some of these guys longer than you probably would like to be.
I don't care. Cut them loose. Do whatever needs to be done. Bring Fernandez in. Let's win the league.
Spoken like a true Chelsea fan right there, folks.
That's right.
So Joey, let's move on. In the final few minutes we have to the major transfer of this past week, and it deals with your team. So I'll let you go on at it.
Yeah, so there was Mihailo Mudryk and Noni Madueke. I don't honestly, I don't know if I pronounced either of those correctly, but they both look great from what I've seen. Obviously, we saw the brief cameo by Mudryk, and oh, it was amazing. Seeing Milner try to do anything with him, that was great. Didn't get to see as much of him against Alexander Arnold as I wanted, but the brief cameo that he had was it got me pumped and excited, and especially like thinking in a couple weeks we get to see Felix mix in as well. Ooh, I'm excited. My heart's fluttering. And then Madueke is, I've seen some people say that he looks even faster than Mudryk, which from what we saw yesterday, like that would be insane. Um, I saw a little scouting report on Madueke, and one thing I am concerned with is it doesn't look like he like ever crosses the ball, which playing on the right with Reece James might not be that big of an issue, but we know how often Reece James gets injured, so it would be nice if he could start crossing the ball in. And then another small issue is that he seems to have a lot of problems with fitness. He hasn't played very many matches going a full 90. It looks like he averages only like 50 minutes a game or something, which is kind of terrifying. I'm hoping that can be rectified, but given the state of our medical team, I don't know. It's
You could have amputation, before the end of the year. Stay at your medical team.
right. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say the future's bright. I'm pretty happy. I just wish we could get Enzo Fernandez. That's it.
Yeah, and I guess to end on a non-Chelsea note, the other guess major transfer of note was Trossard. We talked about on our prior podcast. Felt like someone was pulling the strings for him to force a move out. Turned out to be Arsenal. So I believe they ended up paying 27 million pounds, and I don't know if they got his option offhand. So that could be quite an expensive buy for a 6 month, your contract. I would think paying that much they got the option, and I believe he's only on 90,000 pounds a week, so not terrible salary. I think it's a good bit of business strengthening while you're in first place. Always a good thing. So, and they're linked right now to a young right back, Fresneda, which, Newcastle has been linked to. That's kind of gone a little bit quiet, probably here at the end of this week. But again, the rumors are very similar to the Declan Rice rumors. He wants to play for Mikel Arteta. So I don't know what it is about that guy, but everyone wants to play for him. Thank God there's only 25 slots.
Yeah, with Trossard going to Arsenal, I want to say it's because Chelsea beat them out for both Felix and Mudryk, so they had to settle for the table scraps. But no, I honestly I think the way Arteta's coaching right now, he'll get a good performance out of anybody he slots in there.
Yep. So that should do it for this week's podcast. You are more than welcome to contact us at our email at blackandbluesoccer@gmail.com. And we tweet out and Twitter at blackbluesoccer. Feel free to interact with us, provide your comments and criticisms. Any questions you have, we will get to and read out the following week. And every interaction is appreciated, even if you criticize how we say premiere. So, from Andrew and Joey at the Black and Blue Soccer Show, have a wonderful week and good luck to Newcastle on Tuesday.
Yeah, editor Joey from the future here. F Newcastle, up the Chelsea.
Think that worked? That probably was a lot longer than we anticipated.
Yeah, for sure.
Seriously, freaking toying with those Brighton fans.